Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the delay. I didn't realize that for some reason between this afternoon when I did the numbers and now, I think that's what happens to string players. They kind of multiply. And we just got a whole bunch more, which is great. I just love the idea that here in the South Kitsap School District, we have a plethora, a whole gob, a bushel of string players. I'm going to take you back a little bit, and I know you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to these wonderful performers behind me here. But I want to take you back about 40 years ago. Now, this is about 10 years, 8 years before I came. There was a decision made in the South Kitsap School District to have orchestra. So the school district went out and purchased a whole gob of stringed instruments. And they offered the class at South Kitsap High School. Make sense? Well, not really, because there wasn't anybody who signed up for the class because there were very few players at that time. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately to a district up north of us, they purchased the instruments from us at a very, 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 very reasonable price. It's been a long time. When I first came in 1987, when I came from Seattle, one of my deepest desires was to have an orchestra program. And as you know, we've gone through some ups and downs here in the district financially, enrollment-wise. And with our superintendent who has come in last year, I think this is her second year, she had a dream also, and that was to have a world-class orchestra program. And with the school board's blessing, what is in front of you now is a dream that has not happened for 45 years. In fact, I don't even know back then if this happened. Now, we have players, musicians that do, string players that do play in the pit for the musical, but we've never had an orchestra, a string orchestra. And it is because of you and your support that we have these players up here. My dream is here next year. We won't be here. We'll have to be in the gym or somewhere like that because we'll have so many players here. So I want to thank you for that. And I apologize, I didn't tell you who I was. My name is Bob Cooper. I'm the Director of Arts here in the South Kitsap School District. And I also have the deep, deep privilege of being able to teach at John Sedgwick Junior High the strings there, and also here at the high school with a wonderful group of students. So we are going to show you what it's like when you first start at this age, all the way up to when you get to be, I think I have one senior this year, is all I have in my orchestra. So it's going to be really wonderful to see this progression as we move through. And before we start, I'd like to thank three very important people to me, because this would not be here if it wasn't for them. A number of years ago, Mrs. Dawn Woodstock and Mrs. Cornelis heard about a grant, and they wanted to have an orchestra program, and they went for it. And for a number of years, they have been building it up, and they have had a number of students that wanted to go to Cedar Heights Junior High and play in an orchestra. Mr. Kuntz said, sure, I'll teach orchestra. I love orchestra. So Cedar Heights has an orchestra, and that has progressed to now where we have a high school group. So thank you, Mrs. Dawn Woodstock, who's back on the piano, for your vision. And Mrs. Cornelis, I think she's probably out in the audience, and then Mr. Kuntz, who's busy doing his job there. So we'd like to start this evening with something that is a progression that has moved on. You've probably heard of Dr. Suzuki, and Dr. Suzuki, in teaching strings and piano, actually all instruments now, actually starts the players out by using something that's probably one of the most fundamental parts of the body as being a musician. No, not the singing voice like you just heard. Well, that's important. It's actually the ear. And they learn these pieces by rote, by using their ear to get them in tune. So the two pieces we're going to start with are beginners, are hot cross buns, and then we're going to do the twinkle variation. Okay, so beginners. Stand up. Stand up, come on. Be brave. Here we go. Stand up, beginners, stand up. Stand. All right. Is that everybody? Who's playing hot cross buns? Raise your votes. Okay, all standing, right? Perfect. Here we go. Oh, there we go. It must be voice activated. Let's go back to the twinkle variations. I just have to share this with you, and Sydney, make sure I get this right now. The way you remember those rhythms is the first one is Mississippi, stop, stop. And so that's like Mississippi, stop, stop. The second one is quite interesting. I didn't know this because there's 16th notes. I think it's Grandma rides on motorcycle, isn't it? Yes. So we teach them many things here. Grandma rides a motorcycle, Grandma rides a motorcycle, Grandma rides a motor. So I guess that's how they learn the rhythms. So I'd like to turn it over now to Mr. Michael Paul Kuntz in the Cedar Heights Rain Devil Orchestra.
It's almost there. There you go. Isn't that a cool sound? It's been a while. Mr. Cooper was right. They actually asked me about strings in my interview for the job at Cedar Heights, and that was a few years ago. Thank you so much for coming and doing this. It requires parents, and I'm sure you're very aware of this, all the way from dropping your students off early, giving that bass or cello a ride to school, and all the parents that come in and tune instruments, and that's what they do. They come and keep these instruments tuned. So thank you so much for all of your efforts. We're going to play 2 tunes for you today, and yeah, enjoy. We're going to do a quick transition. It's offered us a lot of opportunities. We actually have a really nice string culture here on the peninsula and lots of opportunities to perform, but one that's been opened up is Mr. Cooper has been very gracious and open to letting some of my students come up and play with the high school kids. We, in the music department here at South, we like that we can perform all the way up from the time that we're this high, and we treat everyone like we all belong. And so some of my students got a chance to play up here, and I very much appreciate the opportunity. Now, I would like to introduce, oh my goodness, the South Kitsap High School String Orchestra, under the direction of Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, everybody. Carol of the Bells is probably one of the most difficult pieces to play. Rhythmically, it's not very difficult. It's in G minor, and it is very, very difficult to play because it plays in all three of the minors that we have. And that's one of the reasons why I picked that piece, is because it demands an incredible amount of listening. This next piece we're going to play is a little bit slower, and I want to tell you a little bit of the story behind this piece. You'll notice in the program that it is called Gynopody Number 1. If you come up to me and ask me what gynopody means, I will tell you I have absolutely no idea. The musical world has absolutely no idea. Eric Satie was one of many composers, there was about 5 of them back in the Impressionistic period, that hung out together in Paris. There were notables like Claude Debussy, Maurice Ravel, that group. And he was a rather interesting composer in that after his first commission, he bought 13 gray suits. And that's what he wore all the time. And he named his pieces just very interesting names, and nobody really knows what it's called, but they are the most beautiful pieces. And you'll notice that it is not heavy like the Carol of the Bells. It's very transparent. And this piece here demands everybody to know their part and to be able to listening all the time. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is something that normally conductors do not ask the audience, and that is, in this piece here, feel free to close your eyes and experience it. That is what impressionistic artists did, is they wanted you to experience something. La Mer of Debussy, the sea. Many of the impressionistic paintings wanted you to get this emotional vision of it. And one of the things that we have been working on, which I believe is very much lacking today in many of our music programs, and really the direction we're moving away from art, and that is what we call aesthetics. That whole study of beauty and the soul, and putting your whole heart and soul, as it were, into it. So, Gynopody number 1 of Eric Satie. Before we play our next piece, in the high school group, and you'll know because they're kind of all in black, I steal from everybody. If you notice, I've got a number of students from different schools here. But of the students here that are in the high school, how many of you just started either this September on your instrument or had not played it until like 5th and 6th grade? Would you raise your bows up in the air? Yeah. That's really cool that a lot of them said, hey, I'm going to sign up for orchestra. Never played an instrument before. Thank you for taking that chance to make beauty out of music. This next piece, I am really proud of them for doing this because this was a piece that I had written as a short warm-up just to see if they could count. And out of that has grown this piece of music, which was rhythmically very difficult. It is in a rondo form and it's called 3-3-2 because basically what we've done is we've taken 8 eighth notes and through the piece it divides up differently. Sometimes 3 + 3 + 2, sometimes 2 + 3 + 3, any combination of that. Ooh, sounds like math. Before we move on, I would like to thank Mrs. Debbie Emmons, who's our theater manager. She helps us get all the stuff set up. She gives her time. Mrs. Emmons, would you maybe stick your head out of the lighting booth up there so we can all give you a round of applause here. Thank you, Mrs. Emmons. It's wonderful. And Mrs. Emmons, could we just temporarily have the house lights up because I had this interesting idea that we had my morning Kiwanis had an auction this spring, and I thought this fall, and I thought it'd be really neat to maybe write a piece of music or arrange a piece of music and have somebody bid on that. Well, they did. It was really neat. And the person, actually it was a gift from somebody, that actually is going to be honored, and this piece is going to be dedicated to is Mr. Scott Simon. So I don't know if Mr. Simon is in here. Is he here? Where is he? Oh, he's way in the back. Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Simon. Awesome job for supporting us. We thank you. he is going to get the cover page for the piece of music that is dedicated to him, and he'll get a recording of it. It's going to be done by computers, so there's going to be no emotion in it. You know, computers aren't very emotional. But a second thing I'd like to say about Mr. Simon is that last year when I was doing band, he gave up his Friday mornings to come in and to work with the French horns, my beginning French horn players, which was incredibly awesome. And I mean that deeply. It is really awesome to give up your time to help a young group of French horn players. And as an orchestra conductor, I am really thankful. Thank you, Scott, for doing that, because in about 5 years, they're going to stick with it, and we're going to add French horns to that. That's going to be so cool. I mean, can you imagine a full symphony orchestra? You know, Seattle doesn't have anything on us. We're going to get there. So this next piece is dedicated to Mr. I did offer for him to conduct, and I think he's smarter than I am, because he said, no, you go right ahead and conduct. And I said, oh, gee, thank you. No, it's really, and I just want to warn you ahead of time, I use every single compositional technique that is tongue-in-cheek that I can in here. It is meant to be that way. It's just a fun piece, and I want to end it that way with this wonderful, fun holiday season. So, jingle, jingle. Did they do a great job? Isn't that fun? That's what the holidays are about, and I want to leave you with just a little thing I'd like you to do, and that is please support live music. It is so fun to be able to do this, and there's lots of concerts coming up here in the district. I know starting tomorrow night in the junior highs and the elementary schools. Please come out and support us, and I want to thank you personally for allowing me the opportunity to be able to teach your sons and daughters, granddaughters, grandsons. It really is a privilege, and I know the amount of sacrifice it is, as Mr. Kuntz had mentioned. I can't believe that we get to do this. It really is an honor. And I wish you and yours, and I know our school board here. By the way, I want to acknowledge, I did see some of our school board members here. Let's see, I think I saw Rebecca here somewhere and somebody else, and I know Dr. Reed is here. If you just wave, would you please give them a round of applause? They've come out to really support us. And everybody have a joyous holiday season, safe travels, and keep a song in your heart. Thank you. Oh, by the way, probably the most important thing is you probably need to collect your belongings here. I don't want any of these left behind here because I don't have enough money to pay for Christmas for them. So what's going to happen is we're going to take them off stage and have them gather up their things in the room. And can we just have them meet you out here in the Commons? I think that'd probably be the easiest way. And the Commons are kind of outside these doors here. I think that's probably the easiest way. Again, thank you so much. Have a joyous holiday season.